how to have a watertight underlayment. This one's a little more difficult. This is actually called a B-vent. You notice that it's got a big hole around this. Now most of the roofs that we see, if you were to have a shingle or two blow off above it, you've got an opening that the water is going to come right in. So how do we get a watertight underlayment in a situation like this? First thing we do is we put on the base flashing first. This is one of two base flashings that we're going to be using. We put that base flashing on, and then we want to make sure that that base flashing centers that pipe in that hole. Now at this point, we go ahead and we fasten this down, and this can be simply done with nails. It's underneath the shingles. It's going to be hidden away, so you can actually fasten that down on this front side, and that's going to hold it in place. Now, the next step that you do is you still use an ice and water protection, and you go around this base flashing. You can see we left the felt loose so we could go under there like that quite easily. And it goes around just like that. You peel and stick off the back, you stick it down, and this is nailed into place so the pipe can't move. The next step is putting the shingles and the second flashing around that. Now that you have this flashing built in, it's a base flashing for the B-vent, built into the underlayment system, it stays under the shingles. It's not a part of the shingle system, it's a part of the underlayment system. What is a part of the shingle system is the next base flashing. It's one that'll be just like it. And you notice we've got a pretty nice base flashing. You want to pick these out real well. These actually come out of Canada. It's an outstanding product, one of the best that we found to keep this watertight. It's both crimped and sealed. But that goes on. You don't have to worry about getting it underneath anything. This is part of the shingle system, not part of the underlayment. The other one was the underlayment. So it goes on, and then you go right back to putting on shingles like everybody knows how to do, and put on the shingles right around that and go on up with the shingles. And now you have a roof that is going to be watertight even if you get a major storm and shingles blow away because you put on a watertight underlayment and now a watertight roofing system on top. So this would actually just lay around that just like that. So what you've got are two levels of protection. You've got an underlayment that goes around the pipe that is totally watertight, and now you've got a shingle system that goes around the pipe totally watertight. Now the big advantage of this is primarily this. One, when you do the work and you dry in the roof with the underlayment, it's dry. If shingles blow off above this, it's protected until you get a chance to replace those shingles. You're not going to be running a lot of floors, a lot of carpets and things like that. So let's take a look where it goes from here. So this is the underlayment side. Now we buy our parts, the base flashing, the storm collar, from a commercial vendor. We don't go to one of the big box stores. We're looking for one that has a real high collar on it here so it captures any water. We're going to put a counter flashing on this. It's one thing you rarely see. What you typically see is you see a lot of caulk, not even put on here like it should be. You actually almost always see them put this on like this, and then a pile of caulking or pookie around this storm collar. I tell you, this thing heats up, cools down, heats up and cools down. I don't know how many times in a year's time. This is your heater, this is your water heater pipe. So not only does the sun heat it up, but it heats up on its own. So we put this storm collar on like this, and then the next step for us is to use our counter flashing. Now we've been doing this for a number of years. This is a single wall pipe, so it makes the third layer of pipe on this, and it slides down over this tall collar. Now the important part is to realize you've got to have these parts and you've got to fasten them into place. We're not going to be doing that. These would actually pop rivet all together, so this would be a single unit, and the pipe inside would still be able to move as it heats up and cools down. The final thing is to get a seriously thick, heavy-duty cap that goes on the top. This would go on. This again would be fastened in on a permanent basis, and you end up with water flowing to the outside, never having to rely on caulk.